Welcome back. Another Spinato spin. Always a great time to do this. Always a wonderful thought process goes through my mind as I reflect on what to talk about. And you know, one thing that a lot of people overlook in their life is maybe just taking it easy and understanding what's going on around you and feeling good about things. Just they say take the time to smell the roses. Well, that is a very powerful statement. And it's almost to the point where your life has to be in such a way where you have gratitude. There's an old expression, expect great things to happen and have gratitude for whatever has happened. It's all about knowing that you're going to get where you got to go. It's just a matter of believing in yourself while you're on your way. Well, part of that is understanding what you got. I mean, the most important thing a lot of people do and what they want to do is they want to be thankful, but they only want to be thankful after they've gotten something. Well, that's part of it, but the most important thing is making sure you're grateful for what you got. Gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. Let's take a look at that. Your brain is in a process where positive feelings happen, good things happen, exciting things are released within your brain when you start thinking like this. I am grateful for. Just putting yourself in that mindset. Always understand whenever you're in a stressful situation, the mechanism that helps you get through it is the fact that you decided to understand the conditions and you've taken an attitude of gratitude. You've taken the time to go through the process of discovering what you're grateful for. I mean, I've asked people this question before on my blog. I posted, and I said, well, what are you really grateful for today? What are you really grateful for in your life? What are you really grateful for over the last month? And it really makes people stop and think. See, there's 4 rituals that people can do to help themselves have happiness and have a great life. And not only that, just feel good about themselves. I'm going to outline them first, and then I'm going to go over them one by one. But the first one is having gratitude. The second one is labeling negative thoughts. I mean, that is a real big one. The other one is making decisions. If you have a way about you to deflect negative thoughts, it's going to help you stay focused and stay on the track of where you really want to be. That's one of them. That is a big thing that a lot of people don't realize that happens when they finally go over a few things and they start feeling a little better. You just got to label it. You just got to, say, okay, this is that. Let's move on. Let's keep going. Let's stay focused. Let's stay on track. The other one, and this one's a tough one, is decision making. Making sure you make decisions. There's a saying in the Japanese people, and people always ask, why do the Japanese people always keep their weight down? How do they keep themselves looking a lot thinner than other people? Well, the mindset is, I will eat till I'm 80% full. That's the mindset of the Japanese. Well, here's an idea about decision making. I will make a decision that's good enough. See, it doesn't have to be a perfect decision. It just has to be good enough. And that good enough is enough to keep you going. It's keeping you focused, keeping you on the straight and narrow. See, these are 4 things you can do every day in your mind and also in your daily life. First thing is gratitude. Second thing is labeling negative thoughts. Third thing is decision making. And the last thing is like the old AT&T commercial, if anyone remembers it, reaching out and touching somebody. You got to reach out and touch people sometimes, folks, and you got to try to make it a habit. You got to touch them in a certain way where they feel, A, they can trust you, B, they believe in you, and number 3, they understand you. There's another saying out there too, what you are speaks so loudly I can't hear a word you're saying. Well, being able to make contact with people in a physical way, mental way, that's all going to be part of who you are and what's going to keep you happy. Breaking it down, though, the first thing we have was gratitude. We hit that one hard. The vibration of gratitude attracts more positive things into your life. Absolutely. See, the world knows and the universe knows and everyone knows whether or not you're a grateful person. That just oozes out of you. That just comes out of you naturally when you start thinking that way. You know, I've said this before, you got to watch your thoughts because they become your words. You got to watch your words because they become your actions. Well, if you have an action and an attitude of gratitude, a lot of people will be attracted to you and good vibrations will happen for you. The next one, and this is really pivotal when you're trying to keep yourself positive and staying on the narrow, negative thoughts. See, there's an old saying, I'm not responsible for any negative thought coming into my head, but I am responsible for how long I entertain it. That's big. You got to stop the entertaining. You know, here's another way about just how your mind works and how all of our minds kind of work. Let me ask you the question. If you had a knock at the door and somebody came in and they didn't feel well, and the next thing you knew, they just started puking all over your house, throwing up everywhere, what would you do? Well, you know, a compassionate person try to get the person help, right? Well, the bottom line is, as they're puking all over your house, the second thought going through your mind is, I got to get this person out of here. This isn't good. I can't have my house stinking of puke for days and weeks and years. I got to get this guy out of here. I got to get this person out of my house. Well, that's a negative thought, folks. That's what happens when you start letting negative thoughts entertain themselves in your mind and in your house. You can't have that. You got to have a way of deflecting it and getting it out of there, moving on to something better and positive. Well, you label it. There's a way to label it. We broke it down. I'm worried. I'm mad. I'm frantic. I'm this. Well, get past it. All right, so you're mad. Good. Let's go. All right, let's move on past that. You're mad. You're feeling mad. Okay, you're going to deal with it as you go along. No problem. Not this festering thought process where, oh, that person makes me so mad. You know, you're stewing in your own juices. You start doing that. Just say, okay, I'm mad. Let's get past it. Let's keep moving. All right, I'm nervous. Okay, you're a little nervous. Deal with your nervousness. Let's go. Come on, move on. That's what you got to start thinking about. You got to start thinking about ways in which you can plant those positive thoughts in your mind so you can stay focused and keep going. That's a big one, labeling. I know we hit that pretty good. We hit that hard. The other thing is, it's like I was telling you about a little bit, about 80% full. Make a decision. You know, there's an old saying, well, you know, even if you don't make a decision, you made a decision not to make a decision. Yeah, that's true, but that's really not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make a decision that's good enough for you to go after and keep moving forward. You know, you're in a situation, you're tired, you got a flat tire, what are you going to do? You got to get the tire fixed if you want to keep moving, you want to keep going in your car, right? Well, who are you going to call? Well, let me think about it for a few days. I got to think about who to call. No, you got to make a decision who you're going to call. If that doesn't work, you got to ask somebody else. You got to keep going and get to where you want to go. That's what decisions are all about. Make little decisions. Just keep moving. And I'll tell you one thing about decision making, and we all know it, and we all probably don't even think about it that much. Our life and the way we go through life is all nothing but a bunch of decisions. It's those little decisions that you hardly think about that wind up determining how things are going to turn out. Remember I mentioned to you, your thoughts, your words, your actions, your habits, that determines who your character is. And your character winds up determining a lot of times what your decisions are. And your decisions are what turns out to be your destiny. Keep that in mind as you go forward. And the last one, what we got here, is really a simple question of how to decide on making decisions. Well, decisions, see, there's one thing, I read a book about it. The book title was Stop Making Decisions on Half-Truths and Half Information that doesn't really help you. You got to know the information you have when it comes to making a decision. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it true? Is it real? Here's one thing I've been studying up on lately. Even before I made this talk, I heard something about meditating. Now, this is really the focus of a lot of the information I have in front of me. Meditation, they call it mindfulness, has a way of making us happy. You know how it makes us happy? It makes us feel better about ourselves. It proves to ourselves that we have control over our thoughts and where our life is heading. Well, why do you say that? Well, here's what happens, folks. When you try to meditate, all you're supposed to do with meditation, real simple, is to focus on one thing. And a lot of times people focus on breathing. You just breathe in and out, in and out, in and out. Well, if you just concentrate on breathing, here's what happens. The right side of your brain knows you're concentrating on breathing, but nobody tells the left side of the mind and the left side of the brain that you're doing that. All of a sudden, you just are loaded with tons of thoughts and tons of ideas, and all kinds of stuff starts coming to you. Half-baked, not true, in your mind, in and out, in and out. Well, that's part of what we're talking about when it comes to decision making. When it comes to decision making, you got to stay focused on making a decision. Focused on making sure that decision actually is a good decision or a good enough decision. When you deflect all that stuff that's interfering with your thought process, that's how things start slipping away, and that's how you start entertaining negative thoughts. When you're sitting there meditating for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it is you choose to do, stay focused on one thing at that time. Breathing. That will help you improve your concentration, ability to focus as you go forward in your day-to-day life. Again, I said these are 4 rituals that people do, that they wind up doing, if you will, to become happier individuals. Remember, I started off with gratitude. I went to negative labeling, understanding negative thoughts and labeling them. Decision making is a big one. And the last one we got up here is I need a hug, please. Well, you know what that has to do with? That has to do with, like I said, reaching out and touching someone. See, people want to be connected to something. People want to believe they have ground to stand on. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. One of them is to make sure you're accepted. One of them wants to make sure that you're actually part of the group. One of them wants to make sure that you appreciate who they are. Well, that hug, or whatever it takes to reach out and shake someone's hand and look into their eyes and say, I believe in you, that goes a long way, folks. People very rarely forget that encounter. And you never know whose life you might save just by giving them a hug, or just by reaching out and shaking their hand and saying, man, I believe in you. Thank you so much for being here. That is huge. I remember I had a manager, a person that I used to work with. In the morning, when he greeted us in the morning, he would look us in the eye, shake our hands, say, I'm glad you're here today. Great to see you. Man, that does a lot, folks. And who knows if he was telling the truth. But I'll tell you what, at that point in time, I really believe that was a way in which you can communicate with people and make them feel appreciated. And not only does that do that for that individual, it also makes them feel like they can trust you. One person I met one time walked up to me and said, let me ask you a question. Are you a person of your word? And I looked at him, and he said, all right, well, I'll tell you what. Before you decide to quit what you're doing right now, you give me a call. Okay? Can we shake on that? He stuck out his hand. I shook it, and he looked me in the eye. I never forgot that. I never forgot. That's why I'm telling you about it. I never forgot the way that whole thing was set up. Are you a person of your word? That's a huge question, folks. And then you look them in the eye and you ask them a question and you see what their answer is. And that goes a long way in reaching out and touching people. I want a hug, and what was the other one? High five. Of course, a high five, folks. It's always about a high five. It always ends with a high five. Every day, every encounter, everything, mentally, psychologically, whatever you want to call it, it should always end with a high five. People goof around about the phrase win-win. Well, that's how you got to walk away when you leave people's company. You got to make them feel good that they actually spend the time with you. You know, there's a goal out there a lot of people set, the positive people, the people that are trying their best. Whenever anyone meets with me, I want them to walk away feeling better about themselves than they did before they met with me that time. That's a big one, folks. And then here's the last one. We'll wrap it up with this. We want encouragers. We have a surplus of critics already. Thanks. When's the last time you encouraged somebody, folks? When's the last time you said, you know, things might not look that great right now, but I believe in you. I think you could do something great. I think everyone should have to do that every morning before they leave the house or before they leave for anywhere that they're going. Just say, I believe in you. I feel very positive you're going to do the best you can and you're going to have a great day. And that's what I leave you with, folks. I leave you with that encouragement. I leave you with that sense in frame of mind. Remember the 4 rituals. Remember always to encourage people. And everybody, have yourself a wonderful week. Thanks a lot for listening on the Spinato Spin. Thank you.